Hello and welcome to the most boring man on YouTube. We're just about to witness the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Verstappen seemed to get a decent start, a bit of wheel spin there, but George Russell's right up on the long side of Carlos Sainz. He got a brilliant start, so yeah, right up along the side of Carlos Sainz, so he seems to have taken that space. Sainz gone around the outside of the track to come join back in. He should be able to allow to do that, but George Russell is on the inside into turn 3. Perez is watching nicely in the background. He's trying to make his way around the outside of George Russell in that, so he seems to have done that, made that stick. So let's see, Perez might have just take that drag race down now between Perez and George Russell. Verstappen early in the lead, George Russell and Perez stuck, and Perez has gone out. He's off into the gravel. He seems to make it move. Ocon is behind George Russell in 5th, Haas 6th, Hamilton 7th. He's kept one Haas behind him, and he's got the other in front. 2 McLarens seem to have done well, jumped up a couple of positions, and they are, looks like 9th and 10th potentially. But Perez is last, making his way around now, so I don't know what position he'll be in. Vettel is reporting he's got damage, so I'm not sure what has happened with that one there. But wow, what a start. I mean, clear from Verstappen, he's quite a decent gap ahead of him. And then we seem to be in a bit of a train now behind. So we've got Verstappen first, Leclerc 1 second behind, Sainz 2 seconds behind in 3rd, Russell 4th, Ocon 5th. There's an incident start procedure that's been noted. Goes brand new. Not sure what's going on there. So 5th is Ocon, 6th Magnussen, 7th Hamilton, 8th Mick Schumacher, 9th and 10th Ricardo Norris, Stroll 11th, Gasly 12th, Albon 13th, Tsunoda 14th, Zhu 15th, Latifi 16th, 17th Alonso, 18th Verstappen, Bottas 19th, and Perez 20th, and reporting that he's got quite a big hole in the side pod as Perez. Seems quite a bit of a nudge there with Russell, and it's always tight into that corner, and we've seen incidents there before. I mean, Albon went off, didn't he, with the touch with Lewis Hamilton a couple of years ago, so let's see how that plays out. But yeah, not great for Perez today. I mean, he'll have a job in his hand. I mean, he's quick in that Red Bull, so we'll see how that plays out. DRS now labelled, we're on to lap 3 is quick lap here, obviously just 1 minute 10 or roughly. I think we'll be doing, yeah, so fastest lap today, 1 minute 10.3 from Max Verstappen, so he's trying to get away from that DRS zone. Incident involving Russell and Perez is noted. We'll see what happens with that. Hamilton in a battle. I mean, Mick Schumacher all over the back of that Mercedes, to be honest, and they've got the Ferrari power in there. I mean, he's closing into the braking zone into turn 3. No, turn 4, sorry, and can't get past there. But Hamilton, not really. I mean, he seems under pressure rather than the one being the aggressor and getting up behind Magnussen. I mean, they are in the train of the DRS. Magnussen does have the DRS on Ocon, and Ocon has the DRS on Russell. And the McLaren's, the Mercedes do struggle down the straight. So let's see how this plays out. We're now on lap 6. Hamilton made a mistake out of the turn, and Mick Schumacher made it pay. He passed him. The power in that Haas with the Ferrari is really making it pay on this circuit. Hamilton falling back down to 8th. We're now seeing Charles Leclerc. He's now 8 tenths behind Max Verstappen. Closing now 6 tenths, so he'll be in the DRS zone, and that'll be a nice battle up front. We're not seeing it on the TV at the moment, but not looking for a cracking match up there. And then we've got Russell in 4th, and he seems to be the blockage at the moment. Ocon is 5 tenths behind him, Magnussen 5 tenths behind him, and Mick Schumacher 4 tenths behind Magnussen, and Hamilton 3 tenths behind Mick Schumacher. So that's a DRS train there, with the Russell at the front of that, and he's falling behind back. He's 6 seconds behind 3rd place Carlos Sainz. So I think it'll be the front 3 we'll just see off on their own at the moment. I mean, Sainz isn't really pressuring Charles Leclerc at the moment. He's 2.3 seconds behind, and Charles Leclerc right up now at the back of Verstappen, 6 tenths. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I mean the straight line pace is what Hamilton is just complaining on the radio at the moment. You can see that clearly. They just don't have the speed down the straight. They can't seem to catch the Haas even with that one. But Charles Leclerc having a look into turn 4, but no, not on that occasion. But it's looking like a cracking race up front, and Charles Leclerc was very happy and really looking forward to the race today. Following the sprint yesterday, he did seem to be quite upbeat following that, in spite losing to Verstappen there. I think he just knew maybe they took it too easy on the tyres, and when they finished that, they could see, you know, there's a difference there. And now coming up to lap, Sergio Perez are both the leaders already on lap 8. So I mean, Perez pitted, I know, and it's a short lap here, but expected a bit more there really. So let's see how this plays out. So Perez is 20th last. He's gone onto the hards. Everybody on the mediums apart from Tsunoda, Zhu, Alonso and Vettel here, so let's see how this one plays out. But Leclerc right on it, 6/10, closing up again with the DRS following right up. It's going to be a great race up front this, and let's see if we can make this pay. Sainz now closing up slowly. He's now 2 seconds behind Leclerc. Russell in 4th. Seems to be holding everyone up at the moment. Like I say, he's 8 seconds behind Sainz, so there's a top 3 running away with it. And then from 4th down to 8th, there's just about 2 seconds in it, which is crazy. It'll be a really tight race. Norris in 9th, 2.6 behind Hamilton. Let's see how that plays out. I mean, the McLarens could be getting in the mix there. Ricciardo right off the back of Norris, 5/10, so he'll have DRS on him. Stroll then 11th, he's 7/10 behind Ricciardo, all very close. Gasly in 12th, 9 within a second of Stroll. Albon in 13th, half a second behind Gasly. Tsunoda 2 seconds behind Albon, all very, very tightly placed. I mean, it's a short track here, but they all seem to, because they can now follow closely in these cars, it just seems to be getting really close racing. They're following each other a lot easier, and it's a very, very tight race. I mean, any small mistake like Hamilton found out, you'll be behind the driver. Charles Leclerc going for a lunge on the inside. Turn 3, so Charles Leclerc trying to get around Max Verstappen. Verstappen's got the drive on the exit there, but Leclerc has got the DRS now going into the next. He's trying to find he's held on the outside. No, he's not going to make it on the outside there, locked up there. But it'll be interesting to see how this one, Charles Leclerc really putting the pressure on now. He has to be careful here, Charles, really. Can't afford an incident where he might lose his wing on Verstappen, especially with the gap to the in the championship. So so 5-second time penalty for George Russell for causing a collision. That's going to be a killer when he comes in for the pit stop. He'll have to wait 5 seconds before they change the tyres on there when he pits. So I mean, with it so close, right up behind him, he might come out quite a few positions behind. Not great for Mercedes at the moment, still 4th and 8th. Hamilton not really making an impression on the 2 Haas, actually falling behind Mick Schumacher in 8th, and just can't seem to get past where they're struggling with their high speed pace of the power engine unit. So turn 3 coming into turn 4, DRS. He does seem further behind at this moment. It's not going to really make it here. Is Charles Leclerc. Let's see how this goes. So on lap 12 we've seen Leclerc take Verstappen, brilliant move on the inside. Verstappen seems to have just left the gap open there. It's a really brilliant move though by Charles Leclerc, and he made it pay. And then lap 14 we've seen Charles Leclerc Max Verstappen pit. He's coming out behind the 2 McLarens. So early pit stop for the Red Bull there. Change of strategy maybe. Now they've been passed by Leclerc. Let's see how this one plays out. I mean, it's very early to go on to that. But George Russell also pitted. He had the 5-second penalty. He pitted the next lap basically following that. He also changed his front wing, probably had some damage following the incident with Perez. So quite a long stop for George Russell. He's going to come back further down the grid. He went onto the hards also. Slightly slow start for Verstappen. Front left just a bit slow going on, and Hamilton now all over the back of Mick Schumacher, but obviously with the DRS train, he's landing and move on the inside. They're going to make that play. What a move. Turn 8, what a move on the inside. No, I've not seen anybody pass there on here. What a brilliant move. He's back up ahead of Mick Schumacher now, and he seems to be just coming into his own now. He should hopefully fly back up to the back of Magnussen. Sainz now got a track limits warning, as has Charles Leclerc, so let's see how that plays. 3 strikes and you're out there. Verstappen now coming up to the back of Mick Schumacher, 1.6 behind him, so let's see how he makes that pass. I'm sure he'll do that quite easily. That Red Bull is the fastest engine on the grid. But Hamilton right up on the back of Kevin Magnussen. The Haas seem to be struggling with pace suddenly, actually, and he's made it extra pace. Makes it pass into turn 4. So that Mercedes has been kind to its tyres. I think they do take longer getting the tyre warm up right, but I think they are just lighter on their tyres. Max Verstappen's got a first warning for track limits. He's now coming right up to the back of Mick Schumacher. I mean, now if Hamilton can pass them that easily, I imagine Verstappen will do that quite easily as well. As Magnussen comes into the pits, Max Verstappen now on the fresher tyres, I mean, he'll make easy work of Mick Schumacher down the straight. So both got the DRS down the straight, but the power of us said, he don't make it into turn 1, does Max Verstappen there really. So Hamilton now putting his foot down, hammer time for him it looks like. He's now 1.7 behind Ocon. He just seems to have the pace suddenly in this, as everybody's tyres seem to be wearing out in this medium. And this could work really well for him. He can just stretch this out, and then he'll have fresher hards later on, and hopefully he can make up more positions there. But Verstappen is now up into 5th, now closing up on Hamilton now 1.6, but he's on a fresh hard, so I imagine he should make that pass fairly easily. Even with Hamilton flying, he's now 1.4 behind Ocon. But it would be interesting to see actually Verstappen Hamilton again. If Hamilton can get into the DRS of Ocon, then it will be really quite tight, to be honest, going there. So let's see how that plays out. Very interesting, really. Did Ocon seem to have an incident? It's just sort of, Hamilton is now just 0.3. Ocon's gone into the pits. So Mick Schumacher pitting now on lap 17. So everyone seemed to pit, but Hamilton staying out longer really here. He's now 16 seconds, 17 seconds behind Carlos Sainz. So that'll be about 19 seconds is Verstappen behind Leclerc. Let's see when the Ferraris pit. I think their strategy has always been a bit questionable in my opinion. They've not been race hardened, I've said this before, like the Red Bulls have. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out now. Mick Schumacher pits, comes out 14th behind the 2 McLarens who are on the hards. That's not great for him, to be honest, because them 2 McLarens on the hards have made it work. They'll stay out longer obviously now. But like you can Verstappen right up the back of Hamilton, half a second. He should have him probably down the DRS straight. He's just on fire at the moment with these new tyres. But Lewis reporting his tyres are good. Interesting that. But it does look like they are good, to be fair with you. Black and white flag for Perez, track limits. Now we're just seeing Verstappen DRS floating right up to the back. Yeah. He reserves his tyres, but you have to imagine him down into turn 4. There's turn 1, 2 and 3 are not really corners here, straight lines down into turn 4, but he's trying to make it around the outside. Hamilton will play that really quite well, blocked him, held him on the apex and the exit. Good exit from Lewis Hamilton. He's going onto the inside to block him there, but Hamilton, Verstappen round the outside. He's well ahead of him into the. Before he even got to turn 4, he's ahead. Easy move there from Verstappen. There you could see that happening. Fresher tyres. The Red Bull just seem a lot quicker now and happier on these tyres. I mean, Charles Leclerc was brilliant with his move. So but I think it's hammer time for Verstappen. He knows he's got to get these 2 Ferraris now, so when the Ferraris pit, he needs to come out ahead of them, and then it'll be a race on the hards. But it looks like Ferrari are just going to play the long game here on these mediums, so they should have fresher tyres towards the ends on the hard. I mean, they must be confident because Leclerc obviously made that pass early on Verstappen, so let's see how this one plays out. So we're now on lap 26. Leclerc leads Sainz. They've both not pitted. Sainz 4 seconds behind Leclerc. Verstappen pitted onto the hards. He's been flying since. He's now 10 seconds behind Sainz. It looks like they've gone for the 2-stop because they pitted on lap 14, so they've gone for the aggressive one here. I think they obviously were struggling on the degradation, and I think that's what gave Leclerc the optimism when he following the sprint race yesterday. Perez has come into the pits. I think it looked like they're retiring that car on lap 26. Too much damage. He wasn't really making any headway, to be honest. He was still quite far behind the back. Now it looks like Ferrari are boxing. Box. We're here for Charles Leclerc. Lap 26. In comes Charles Leclerc. He's obviously going to go onto the hards here. Yes. Let's see how the pit stop runs. Pretty smooth there, quite a good stop. We're looking at 2.6, brilliant stop for them. Obviously, Verstappen makes it up into second, so let's see how this one reacts now. Verstappen kind of, if he's gone for the hard, for that position, let's see how that goes. Hamilton still on the mediums in 4th place, done really well, to be honest. He's now come out just a second behind Charles Leclerc, so look, Ferraris have just made a pit stop on Hamilton there. Hamilton has 18 seconds behind him with Stroll, so him staying that long has kind of really worked out well for him. I'm surprised Russell didn't, but I think once you've got a penalty, you've got 3 laps to take it, so I think that's probably why Russell came in early and just changed his wing, took the pain. He's now up into 12th. Behind Ricciardo on the hards, who's not pitted yet. It looks like he's 2/10. He should make that up into 11th place, it looks like. So Sainz pitting now next lap round. I think that will obviously be for the hard. So they've stuck with their strategy. They call it Plan E, which is they've burnt through a few plans there. Ferrari have sticking with Plan E. Brilliant stop again. 2.3 this time. Tidy, very tidy stop. Hamilton making his way down the straight. Looks like he's going to pass Sainz. Yeah, he is. So Sainz pitted, comes out behind Lewis Hamilton, so he'll have a bit of a race on there. I'm not sure that would be much of a battle, to be honest. Mercedes, as I say a couple of times now, don't have the straight line speed for that. Stroll up into 5th place. No stops yet for him, obviously, on the hards, so going deep into this race. Let's see how that works out for him in going forward. We've seen a cracking battle earlier on with the Haas. Mick Schumacher now making his way past Lando Norris. The Haas is performing really well today. Excellent to see. Really got close to that team watching the Netflix Drive to Survive series, and you really started to appreciate them. Norris sort of complaining on the radio about getting squeezed under the brakes, but Alonso right in there in the mix. He's as well. Ocon is in 6th, the leading Alpine. No pits yet. Haas, Most Magnussen and Mick Schumacher pitted on the hards. Lewis Hamilton now pits on lap 29. Charles Leclerc just pulled in the fastest lap of the race. He's now 4.8 behind Verstappen. Slow stop for Lewis Hamilton, 4.1. That's a 4 stop. Mercedes haven't been great there, to be honest with you, and that cost him in the last race we've seen. He's coming out of the pits. Will he make it out ahead of the Aston Martin and an Alpine? It looks not. No, that's cost him that really badly. Cost him dearly, that has. Poor from Mercedes, that again. That cost him in Canada. It's shown it's cost him here with position. I mean, Hamilton was furious. It cost him in Silverstone as well, actually. Poor pit stop, and he's on the radio now. saying quite understand that. So yeah, because of that 4-second stop, he's now behind Ocon and Aston Martin. But I imagine he should have the pace, but it's obviously not what he wanted. You want to come out in fresh tyres and just get on it, to be honest. But he looks like a comfortable 4th place for Lewis Hamilton, I think. I'm not sure if they're fast enough for the Ferraris today. I mean, they're already 20 seconds behind the pair of the Ferraris and Max in the Red Bull. So we're just seeing the Aston Martin pit now, Stroll ahead of him, and now Hamilton right up in the back of Ocon. 3 tenths, he'll have the DRS. I think that should watch him going into turn 1. No, not yet, but I mean, we've seen that with how it's a slingshot down now into turn 4. It's probably the best way to do it, just because there's no comeback on the DRS down the next straight, so it's the best way to make the pass, I believe. Leclerc 2.9 on Verstappen. He's flying at the moment. It looks like Ferrari's for the win. Let's see if they can make it a 1-2 with Carlos Sainz. He's just not seemed to be on it today, even though it looks like they do have the faster car. But Leclerc is making it pay. But let's see if Sainz can get ahead of the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Let's see how that's lap 29 now, so close up to lap half race distance, 71 lap races. I'll catch up with you shortly. And so lap 33, we've seen Leclerc take the lead. He passed quite an easy pass on Verstappen, who then reported on the radio he seems to have front end issues. One lap he seems to have it, one lap he doesn't. And that'll be music to the ears of Carlos Sainz, who would be looking to pass that Red Bull. He's about 4 seconds behind. He's not quite got the pace of Charles Leclerc. He's been on fire, to be honest. He came out of the pits 4 and 5 seconds behind Max Verstappen, and within about 3 or 4 laps he's been absolutely on fire. He's now 2.6 ahead of Verstappen. Carlos Sainz closing up on him now, 2.7 behind Max Verstappen. I don't know if he has issues there. 4th place, solid 4th place for Lewis Hamilton, 25 seconds though behind Carlos Sainz. Ocon in 5th, 6 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, so comfortable in 4th at the moment. Mick Schumacher, Magnussen 6, 7, Norris 8, Russell doing well up into 9th, catching Norris and Ricciardo 10th at the moment. Let's see how this goes. So lap 37, Verstappen pits. Carlos Sainz was right up the back of him. I think instead of fighting, they knew that they would struggle there. And Verstappen struggling on the tyres. He went straight in pits onto the hards. They're protecting against Hamilton, which he's done really well, going long into the race on the hards, and he was closing on Max. He pitted early on lap 14 and just starting to see the tyre wear, and they pitted to protect him against Lewis Hamilton, who's done really well in the Mercedes there. He pitted, he comes out ahead of Lewis Hamilton. He's 6 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton now on fresher hard tyres. But that's sort of blown the race open for Ferrari now. Let's see what Ferrari do. Will they react? I know they pitted later than Max Verstappen there on the hards. And see if they will react and just try to keep track position on fresher tyres. They can do that if Leclerc pits now. He will still come out ahead of Verstappen, and I'm not sure if that would be the smart money there. I know these tyres are not very old on the Ferrari now, but are they just going to run that one stop right to the end? But Verstappen on fresher tyres now, can he make the difference and close up on Leclerc? I mean, he's got 35 laps to go on the hards now as Max Verstappen, and he only managed sort of 25 before he's seen the deficit and struggling for lap time on the hards he just replaced. So let's see how that plays out. But ultimately, I guess if Ferrari's tyres get older and older in the degradation, I mean, they seem quite happy on their deg for this race, looking at Leclerc's comments there. But let's see how that one pans out for them. Lewis Hamilton again in comfortable 4th, Ocon 5th, Mick Schumacher ahead of Magnussen. He's had a great weekend this weekend in 6th. Magnus 7th, double points for them at the moment as it stands. Norris in 8th. Russell up to 9th. He's right behind Lando Norris. So let's see. But yeah, let's see how that one goes. And incident now on lap 40. Pierre Gasly trying to make it on the inside of Sebastian Vettel and nudges him. Looks like a penalty that. It was a poor one, that, to be honest. Poor move. They've had a poor weekend, so that's a funny one. So George Russell pits again for the second time, lap 41, onto fresh hards. Quick stop there for 2.7. He comes out, he's 13th at the moment. Yeah, come out 13, just behind Stroll. I think it's just a battle for him to get some points now. He's got ruined with the incident with Perez, so that's a bit of a shame there. So Norris has made his way up into 7th place, ahead of Magnussen. Norris having a great race, to be honest. McLaren have done well in the race, to be honest with you. They showed that yesterday. Their one lap pace seems really poor. They qualified really badly, but in the races yesterday they get made up into the top 10 for Norris at 10th and 11th. And the two McLarens now 7th and 9th in the race, so have done really well. They're in a battle with the Haas and potentially Ocon. So let's see how that one pans out. But we've seen quite a few cars getting black and white flags for track limits, and they've just confirmed a 5-second time penalty for Pierre Gasly with the collision with Vettel. You could see that one coming, to be honest with you. Clumsy move there for him. So we're now on to lap 44. Norris pits, coming back down the field into where's he come out? 14th place. George Russell up into 8th place. Brilliant move by him. Racing hard with Stroll 2 and 5. Oh, he's not made it into, so good move back from Stroll there. Oh, he's made it on the inside of the brilliant move into turn 8 and 9. That brilliant. He makes it pay now, so he's going to race up now to Alonso ahead of him, about 5.5 seconds, but he's got fresher hard tyres, so it should be, if he gets up to the back of Alonso, I think he'll make that easy. Ricardo and Ocon pit on lap 46, so it looks like everybody's going for the sort of longer 2 stops now, because it just seems like they're struggling. It's a hot day there. So Mick Schumacher down the inside of Lance Stroll, up to 8th now. They both pitted there. The two Haases making their way back up into points again. So and we're seeing track limits, black and white flag for Lewis Hamilton as well. So next time round he's going to be getting a where is he running wide? On the exit, on this one, onto the last exit of the last corner. He ran over they've been really punishing the drivers for that today. One more time and that's a 5-second time penalty. We've seen other drivers get that in the race today, so Strude's being sort of strict and same with all drivers there. Max Verstappen now 13 seconds behind Carlos Sainz, who's Sainz 5.5 behind Leclerc. Sainz just doesn't seem to have the pace, but have Ferrari missed a trick there by not pitting Sainz, or maybe they'll go a bit later on. Maybe they might go into the mediums later on and be racing at the end and try and pass Verstappen, because I think Max will close up onto the back of Sainz and might make that move. But 13 seconds, let's see what his tyre situation is going to be when he gets some to the back of him there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. Both Haas now in 8th and 9th. They've came out fresher tyres and making up their way. I think once you're on the fresher tyres, you're seeing the difference here. So lap 50, Charles Leclerc is pitting. So he's going to come out behind Verstappen. Yes, he is. 21 laps to go onto the hard tyres. So he's come out 3.7 seconds behind Max Verstappen has Charles Leclerc, 3.8 now. So let's see how, the Ferrari just seems fast today. I think they should have the win in the bag, and it's whether they can make it a 1-2 really. And they kind of really need that. Ferrari they're boxing. So box for Sainz on the radio there. He'll be pitting now, so 21 laps to go. Should give him some fresher tyres on Max, and the difference on that should really help Sainz make up the place. He'll have to catch up to the back of Verstappen. I think he'll come out about 8 or 9 seconds behind Max following his pit, and then that'll be the battle for him now. He'd have to sort of make, looking at that, about half a second to catch up right to the back before the end of the race. I mean, he's probably looking at about 8, 9 tenths. So they're sort of expecting the Red Bulls to drop off pace significantly to make up that time, especially for Sainz. He should be strong at the end, hopefully. Let's see how that one pans out. So yeah, both Ferraris going to have to both pass Red Bull. But it does, I mean, it's race on. Let's see, that's what we wanted really. So Ferraris are both going to have to pass Max again for the win here. 20 laps to go. I'm sure Max will make it as hard as possible. And I think the deg should calm down now, because obviously we're getting into the latter end of the race. Both lighter fuel loads, so the deg should be better. Hamilton 7 seconds behind Sainz. He's not pitted yet, but he's 37 seconds ahead of Alonso, so he's got an easy stop. Russell's reporting, why is his car so slow? He just seems to not comfortable with that, but he's 1.5 behind Ocon. And I think his battle is really with Ocon, but Ocon is 1.1 behind Alonso, so I think he's hoping to get into the DRS. Teamwork there, as we've seen with the Haas. The DRS helped them both along really and keep Russell at bay, but let's see how that goes. But lap 52, yeah, box, Hamilton again. So that's well, it makes sense. He's no brain. There's no harm for Lewis Hamilton there. No risk from anyone behind. He's got enough of a gap. He may as well pit, and maybe that might push pressure on Verstappen. He pitted early, to be honest. He's got to get to the end with 35 laps on his tyres. So I guess that will be interesting to see how that one plays out. Leclerc now 1 second behind Verstappen. So incident involving car 10, Gasly is not taking up his time penalty, so that's an interesting one. So they forgot to, he had a 5-second penalty, unless he's pitted and they forgot to make that happen. But yeah, we're looking at Leclerc now 3 tenths behind Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc should have this now. He's right in the DRS, going up into turn 1, 3 tenths. Will he make the pass into turn 1, or will he just... It's not the way to do it, I don't think. It's smart. Stay behind him, good exit. DRS down into turn 4, I think it is now. Verstappen going to protect the inside, forcing him the wrong way around at turn 3, and he should get him on the switcheroo. Yes, gets him on the inside. He's just we've got the DRS down, so he's trying to go around the outside. You're not going to make it there, but yeah, it looks like it. Ferrari just seems quick today, and brilliant move for Charles Leclerc. And now it's up to Carlos Sainz. So he's 5 seconds behind Verstappen, taking about half a second out of him on that lap. 4.8. Obviously, that was always going to happen, I think. So Verstappen on the radio now. He just seems to be slow. I'm saying what a joke the traction is. I mean, that seems to be their strong point of their car. So he's complaining about traction there. Carlos Sainz 4.2. He's gained about 1.5 seconds just on that one lap. So he'll have the of Carlos Sainz playing right back of him. Let's see how Hamilton gets on, and that'd be interesting because he really needs to just get into the gap where Red Bull can't pit Verstappen again, because he'll fall out behind him, and potentially can get a 3rd place, and that'd be brilliant for the championship and great for Lewis Hamilton. They don't seem to have the pace. He's 32 seconds behind Carlos Sainz as Lewis Hamilton, so he's got a long way to go to make Red Bull sweat with that one. I think Red Bull should have enough pace to keep Hamilton behind him, but it'll be interesting to see how that goes, and if the degradation on that. I mean, they're on the hards, or the Red Bull. Hamilton's come out on the mediums. He's the only one that seemed to have done that. The hard seems the tyre of choice, and it's the softest set of tyres that Pirelli have bought here today, so the hard is probably like what's equivalent to what was the soft in Silverstone. So Hamilton, Russell making it past Alonso is up into 6th place. Brilliant move there. So he's now back up 1.5 behind Ocon. So it looked like a 4th and a 5th, which is a great result for the Mercedes. Obviously the best of the rest with Perez out. I mean, Perez looked like he would have been right up there with the fight, but imagine he'd have the same issues. But he seems to look after his tyres better than Max, and it's one of been his fortes really, just making it long into the race and making the tyres last. That's been it's been brilliant throughout his career. We've seen that at Force India and elsewhere for him. But it'll be interesting to see how this one comes out. So we're saying striking distance for Max Verstappen, saying 1 lap, so 1.8, is that much faster? I mean, yes, it looks like he is. So Hamilton asking a question why we went onto this medium. So they're saying we're currently looking at an opportunity at the end of the race. Maybe they're going for the fastest lap with that one for Lewis Hamilton, because he's the only one on the mediums. But if everyone's struggling on the hards, will he have the pace at the end of the race? He's falling behind Carlos Sainz, but I mean, he's on fire at the moment. But it'll be interesting to see. 25 seconds for a pit, so he's about 9 seconds before Hamilton gets into the zone there. Verstappen would have come out behind Hamilton if he decides to pit again. But I think the RedBull will just call it where it is now. I think they've got 3rd place, or they should have 3rd. I mean, I imagine Sainz should pass Max Verstappen. He's now 1.2. He's caught up very, very quickly over about 2 or 3 laps. I thought we'd see that one take longer, to be honest, but Red Bull seems to be struggling, unless he's just playing it long now and just going slow. So let's see how that works out for him. But it looks like a 1-2 for Ferrari here. I think it's all down to reliability now, and I think they could have been a lot closer in the championship if it wasn't for reliability, and I think that's all they'll be hoping for as they go forward in this race. But yeah, lap 56, 15 laps to go. Will be a brilliant race from here. If let's see what goes on, but it looks like comfortable Ferrari up front. Russell 1.6 behind Ocon holding well in 5th place behind Hamilton at the moment. Alonso in 7th, Mick Schumacher 8th, Magnussen 9th. The way the 2 Haas has been going, I think they'll be after that Alpine, to be honest, and hoping they can pass Alonso there, but they should have the fresher tyres. Let's see how that one pans out in the end. But we're now seeing Carlos Sainz right up in the back of Red Bull, and he should have DRS down turn 4. No, I don't think we're going to make it there. Oh, that's what he said. The engine's gone for Carlos Sainz. That was a 1-2. Looking on an overtake for Max Verstappen, but power unit problem. It just went as he. No. What can I say there? He's rolling back down the hill. He needs to get his brakes on that one. His Ferrari fire at the end, back of the engine there, the rear. And that was a 1-2 for Ferrari. I mean, they should have named certain for a 1-2 there, but not for the first time that's happened. And Hamilton, they're jumping, trying to stop the car from rolling down the hill, and they really need to be quick on that one. Get the fire extinguishers on it. That's not would have been really quite slow. The marshals there to get to him, and he parked up right near them, to be honest, and they just sort of stood and watched as the car sort of set on fire. And now they've got a rescue car out there. Car on the track has to be a safety car. Yes, virtual safety car. I'm surprised it's not called. So will that be an easy pit stop? Who will make most of this one here? Could this be an opportunity for Max now? Cheap pit stop, come out on the fresher tyres, and make a race of it towards the end. Let's see who can benefit from this virtual safety car, because they're all going around slowly. It does mean a cheapest pit stop, normally about 10 seconds. So it was such a shame. Just as I was saying, to be honest, as the Ferraris need to be careful, be all about reliability, but oh my goodness, he got it right with strategy today. I was questioning that earlier on, but they did the right thing, and it's cost him with reliability. Charles Leclerc coming in for the pits. That's interesting. Oh, and Red Bull. Yeah, well, they've both taken advantage of that. Makes sense, to be honest with you. Silly not to. They've both gone on to the mediums. And that'll cover Hamilton there, wouldn't it? It just makes it nice and easy, don't they? So they're making enough restart. Well, it's going to be a virtual safety car restart, isn't it? So don't have the issue of the full safety car restart where the driver behind is right behind and Hamilton would have been on the fresher tyres. I think that's what he's kind of hoping for there, but it didn't quite work out for him, did it? And unfortunately they've got a big enough gap to react. Have the Ferrari and Red Bull. Be interesting to see how this one works out. But virtual safety car lap 59. Such a shame for Carlos Sainz. It would have been a brilliant result for a Ferrari 1-2. But reliability, poor. So we're on to the final lap. Charles Leclerc was well far in the lead, but following the issue with Carlos Sainz engine, Leclerc started reporting issues with his throttle. He's having issues with his throttle, just not springing back effectively, so he's pulling it back up with his foot. Verstappen closing up 2 seconds behind now, right onto the last lap. I think Leclerc should have enough. They've been the fastest here, but the reliability could costing and making this more interesting and difficult for Ferrari than it needs to be. 2 seconds ahead, but he's only got a few more corners to go now. Gap under 2 seconds now from Verstappen behind Leclerc, but there's not much to go. Hamilton third, Russell fourth, Ocon fifth, Mick Schumacher sixth, Norris seventh, Magnussen 8th, Ricciardo 9th. Alonso's made himself up into the top 10, passing Bottas, but Charles Leclerc making it around the last lap. Yes, he's made it. What a win for Ferrari. Dancing as he crosses the line. Brilliant result for him. Charles Leclerc win. He was just absolutely epic all day today. He seemed confident after the sprint race yesterday. Podium for Lewis Hamilton, back on there. I think obviously that wasn't going to happen if it wasn't for the issue of Sainz, but they've been there consistent, Mercedes. They've picked up points where Ferrari and Red Bull have dropped off with issues of crashes and engine failures for Ferrari. So great result for Lewis Hamilton, third. Another podium after Silverstone, so back-to-back podiums for Mercedes. Didn't have the pace today to take the battle to Red Bull and Ferrari. They finished about half a minute behind both. Better, but they still know they've got a long way to go before they're fighting for the top two on the top step of the podium yet. But this is one of their weakest Grand Prix weekends. Austria always has been, so interesting to see how they are next time out in a couple of weeks' time. But what a win for Charles Leclerc. Had us all on the edge of our seats at the end with the reliability, but what a win. Great for the championship. Shame about Carlos Sainz, because that would have been a 100% 1-2. Thanks for watching the Austrian Grand Prix with me, the most boring man on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.